Zlurpcast!
We shall not judge. What's the actual verbiage? Judge not.
Lest ye be judged.
Ye, is it ye or yeet?
Ye.
Ye be judged. Before we judge each other and talk about a game of judgment, I will say these new thumbnails, these guys don't know about it, but they're working out nicely. No more of this Zlurpcast and the name, where it's not going to happen anymore. That's not going to get clicks like a pair of titties would get clicks, you know? So we got to up our game a bit. So we're trying some new stuff. You got 5 boxes here. Biran, are we horizontal or are we vertical? What are we right now?
We got 3 on the top, 2 on the bottom. We're a reverse pyramid.
Who's on the bottom?
We got the good Spencer and Valdric.
So when they sign people up to Zoom calls, we profit.
Right.
They're in our downline.
That's right. They have to get 10 people.
Okay. Next episode, I'll get into this Zlurpcast, multi-level marketing, and basically, how can you help me buy a boat is what's going to be the...
We need to establish Zlurpcoin, our own cryptocurrency.
Yeah, I just think that, you know, as long as you work your butt off and pay your monthly dues, sign people up, we got a good relationship. So, the game of Judgment, that's this episode. What is Judgment? A lot of people notice the Kickstarter that's currently on right now, and they're like, I never heard of this game. And then the faithful jump up on social media. It's been out before. And then they mention, oh, is that the big models? And then the light bulb collectively goes off, because there was a small to medium amount of hype when the first Kickstarter came out. It didn't take the gaming world by storm by any means, but there was enough that looks cool. And before we get into it, I'll do some introductions. Biran has the Eat Shit and Diabetes shirt on.
Present from friend of the show, Ryan.
Very nice. Xtreme has a Don't You Know?
It's my Alice in Wonderland shirt.
Oh, okay.
I think it's the second appearance of this shirt. So
I thought it was an old school, New Age Outlaws, oh, you didn't know?
Is it Alice in Wonderland, or is that some other reference to some other pop culture thing, or is it literally just Alice in Wonderland?
It's just Alice in Wonderland. I forget what, liquid blue shirt. I think they did all the Grateful Dead shirts.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you
bought it. So it's a marijuana thing. Got it.
Yeah, if you bought it at a bong store.
No.
They prefer to be called head shops.
I still will call it what I know it as. By the way, you can get a shirt like that. You can get a water pipe. And also, possibly, if you're lucky, to tie it into gaming, Weedopoly may be sold there as well. Always look for a copy of Weedopoly at your favorite head shop. Xtreme? Weedopoly?
Not to interrupt your introductions, but I have a antidote, or God damn it.
Anecdote or an antidote?
Well, hold on. If it's about weed, it is.
I was thinking about it already.
No, it is an antidote. It solves all problems, I've heard.
Oh. I don't even care anymore. In my early 20s, I was working 3 jobs at the same time. And one of my jobs was as in the box office of a movie theater. And I was reading through the looking glass, and one of the other employees came. He was like, "So you do drugs?" I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "You wouldn't read that book as an adult unless you did drugs." It's like, okay, maybe. And he ended up hooking me up with some pretty good stuff, and that was a good time.
I learned something new about Xtreme in every episode.
Now, should we play another game, an Xtreme, only with your consent of, can we guess what drugs that you've taken?
Heroin.
No, no heroin. Here's what I'm going. I'm going, and we can all say our answers. You can say who's right or wrong. Marijuana. Don't say anything. Ecstasy. Mushrooms. And
poppers.
I'm gonna stop there.
I'm gonna go poppers, GHB, crack cocaine, crocodile.
Crocodile.
From Russia. Yeah.
Did you say angel dust too?
No, just crocodile.
Mike
knows what that is because he's been to Florida.
Oh yeah, I just Google it. You'll get some great pictures.
Oh yeah. Image search is your best bet for that.
Yeah, yeah. Begins with a K, by the way. I'm gonna go just straight pot. That's it.
Okay. Spencer.
Going with John's list and adding acid because he was reading that book.
Okay. Xtreme.
There are no 100% correct answers.
Wow. It's like Price is Right, where we got to go back and switch a number around, but you won't tell us which one.
I mean, you were the closest.
No,
actually, Spencer was the closest.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it your hard drug experimentation that caused your color blindness, or is that a congenital defect?
Fair question. I'll allow it.
I was born with this defect.
Like Lady Gaga says.
Just born this way.
Photograph.
Xtreme, your elongated penis, was that a side effect of the drug use too?
No, that was because he was a breech birth. He came out by his dick.
I mean, like
the doctors pulled and pulled and pulled. And
like
it was like the magic handkerchief.
Well, the way I'm envisioning it right now is the new Blood Bowl dwarves are on their hair. Xtreme's model is like standing on his own dick.
Yeah.
I really hope someone that backed the Kickstarter for Judgment watches this video and is.
Who gives a fuck? It doesn't matter.
I think Andrew's gonna watch it.
Who gives a fuck? It's our show. Who cares?
And he's Australian. This is tame to them.
Right. Australians say cunt to their mom. You know what I mean? Like, they do whatever. There's no rules down there. No rules, just right. Is that Outback? I don't know.
No rules and iocane powder. That's their premise.
So continuing with the introductions, we'll save the other drug game shows for another time. We've got Mike Valdric in the Zlurpcast TV shirt available at zlurpcast.net. Look at that. Stars of the award-winning, I don't know if it won, if it's been up for a while. Death Path, the game, available on eBay. There's Agent J, there's Brickchell, there's Mutant Kind, and there is Nacho Bandit with the what we call the masturbation forearm. Mm-hmm. Spencer backed it, but he was too poor to buy a character. That's fine. Fine. He is also on the show today. Spencer Stevens in a flannel. He is known online as the other Spencer. Weren't you called Cheated Fate Spencer too?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that
while
still?
I did the podcast, so it's just the email address.
Are they on the Pay No Mind list, or no?
What's that?
Is Cheated Fates on like the Pay No Mind list? Like we don't speak of them?
Oh no, I don't. That doesn't bother me. I'm still friends with Joe. They just got a different host because I didn't play anymore.
Oh well, understandable. You can't win if you don't play. That's just
exactly.
Spencer has a brother named Sean, and for a long time it was easy to tell you apart. Now the gap is closing.
I can tell by facial hair.
I'm starting to look like him.
No,
facial you have hair differentiation.
You guys have the same head now.
Well, he goes both ways with his, so he splits.
Yes,
he splits like this.
Yeah,
he goes both ways.
He goes like the sideshow Bob.
He goes the shave center, exactly. But yeah, but by the beard instead.
Well, I look
forward. At the shop, they just said he goes both ways. You can tell by his beard.
He does. When you turn 50, you'll start doing that too. You're gonna follow in his footsteps. It's obvious.
I'll just have to like do the biggest handlebar with the bottom of my beard as I can.
Nice.
Just so it's not just like his.
So you are a tabletop gamer, much like us, but you play a lot of the games that we didn't really play a lot. So it's great to have you on. We might have you on for other ones too, because there are just some games that the style didn't always mesh with. Xtreme's love for War Machine, I believe, was an anomaly in the whole Zlurpcast experience. In general, and Biran, Valdric, correct me if I'm wrong, the games like Spencer normally plays don't usually resonate with us. Is that fair to say?
They're games for smarter people.
I'm not going to say that.
For me, yes, I will. I will say that.
Okay, that's fine. I'm not going to say that. I think Railroad Inc. is for the smartest people around, Biran. Don't sell yourself short.
That's true.
I just think that there's a certain style with some of those games, and it's not right or wrong. It's just preference. Spencer, the game we're talking about today, Judgment, it has some things in common with Guild Ball and War Machine. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, for sure.
You
Some of the core mechanics definitely shared in all those games.
A crossover with that type of crowd?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. But you know, because a lot of people were playing War Machine, and then the editions changed, and it was kind of the same time that Guild Ball was bringing up, and then you know a lot of people were getting playing Guild Ball, and that started to burn out, and that's kind of when Judgment really started to come in the limelight. But it kept those same mechanics that you really enjoyed out of both of those games, and it was easy for you to kind of go from one game to the other because you're already comfortable with them.
In a weird kind of analogy, would you say that Judgment is kind of almost kind of pulling what Mantic did with Kings of War, as in right place at the right time to give people what they want, because they weren't getting it anymore. They weren't getting it at home anymore. They weren't getting it from their former loves.
Yeah, to a point, but I still feel like those games feel exactly the same as much as King of War felt like Fantasy did.
Okay.
So like you had like a base mechanic that's similar, but then the rest of the game plays very differently than.
And I guess now, even more so, your statement's probably even more correct, because now, and feel free to give me an overview, but all of us played some Judgment First Edition, large models. There was measuring. You had a handful of dudes on the table, and you're trying to do your things, which I'll let you talk about. So could you just cover the overall basics of the new version and how it's on a grid and smaller models, and then just a brief overview of, capturing souls and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, okay. So Judgment, in a nutshell, is a MOBA inspired tabletop arena game. And the wonderful thing about it is that there's no factions in the game. So it's very much, you kind of just grab the models that you like and create a warband with, but they still have those same classes that you'll find, familiar from other, video games like, MOBA or Dota, where you have like your defender, tank classes, you have your supports.
What is MOBA and Dota?
MOBA is just like the type of computer game it is.
Massive
so you have
online
like
battle arena.
Yep. So you got League of Legends, which is a giant one, and Dota is another giant one.
Defense of the Ancients is what Dota stands for.
See, I didn't even know. That's why Brian's here.
I just actually, it was a test to see who's the biggest fucking nerd of everybody here. And it's
Defense of the Ancients started out as a mod to Warcraft 3.
Hey, you already won.
I'm sorry.
You already won.
I'm out. You don't need me.
Go on, Spencer. Let's talk about the actual topic. Weird.
Okay. Yeah. And then they have your aggressors, and then you have one new class that is specifically Judgment related, which is a Soul Gazer. And basically the objective of Judgment is to take out your opponent's base, which is what they call an effigy. And you do that by, a combination of either gathering souls on the board from either killing opponents or actually like harvesting them as they appear on the table. And that's what Soul Gazers are really good at doing. But you can do a combination, or you can even go and flat out, attack their effigy like you could in a MOBA. But the thing that really appealed to me at first, back when I was first looking at this online, was back probably 2017, was just the models. Like the models were amazing, like the best sculpts I've ever seen. And I really just wanted to try them out. So at Adepticon 2018, they finally came. And I got myself a demo, and then, grabbed a starter, grabbed a few minis. And it was awesome. I didn't have to pick, I'm going to go with this army, or I'm going to go with this faction, and, immediately have to limit myself to what I get next. I could just go with whatever I thought looked cool. And that's what I continued doing as Sean got into it at the same convention. And we eventually ended up owning the entire range just by doing that same thing. We never duplicated any models. We just kind of would take turns of, yeah, I really like that dude, or I really like that model, and just grabbing that. And it didn't really matter like who you grabbed, because everyone was fun to play with. And I never felt like this person was underpowered or this new person was overpowered. And I think that really came down to the pick and ban system that they use, which I haven't seen in any other games, which, you know, they have two different game modes. You have like your 3v3, which is on a 2x2 mat, and you have your 5v5, which is on a bigger 3v3 mat. I mean 3x3 mat. And for like the 3 versus 3, you'd bring 5 models each, and then you'd roll off to see who goes first, and then they would get to ban one of your 5, and then you get to do the same, and then you'd pick your remaining 3 from whatever the remaining 4.
Yeah.
So every single game.
What I really like the pick and ban a lot, because
I thought I'd hate it.
Really, when it was first,
I thought it was gonna be awful. The
reason why from the beginning, and I don't know if it was Xtreme, because Xtreme kind of got me in at Adepticon. At the very least, look at the models. Like at the very least, no one can deny the models looked fucking amazing. I'm sure the new
God
range will be too. But it's almost it's kind of like a reverse. A lot of new game companies have a killer game, and then like the models. You just go with it.
Sorry.
This is the opposite. This was the models are fantastic. Hey, we're all gonna try to get into the game because the models are cool.
Dude, we all do it at that same Adepticon, I think, too.
Totally. And I walked out of there with the dwarf with the butcher knife and
Brock,
Brock, right?
Brock.
And,
always disappoints.
Yeah. And
he's amazing. Shut your mouth.
And I walked out with the crane. Oh, speaking of crane, the crane guy.
Cavardo, yeah.
Yeah, he was
one I bought first too. Yep.
He's my favorite model of the whole range. And
I bought him immediately too.
Yeah, and so when I was learning how to play, I don't think Xtreme, you got me into the look at the models and we bought stuff, but I don't think you and I played. I think Mike and I probably played first as usual. I think and that was my pick and ban experience. But right from the beginning, the idea of, you mentioned the classes. So you have aggressor, soul gazer, healer, tank. No, what's
defender.
They call it defender, but it is a tank.
Okay, and that's 4. That's the 4.
Support healer, yeah.
Yeah. So
then there's hybrid.
Oh, and hybrid.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So what I thought was immediately intriguing was the idea that you're going to pick one to ban. So essentially you're picking one of my 5 that will not take part in this game. And so the real question was, which class do I double up on?
Yep.
Because we're essentially betting. I'm betting you're going to get rid of, say, one of my aggressors. So I'm going to take 2 aggressors. So you get rid of one, I got the other. You also might not, leaving me with 2, to which I may only grab 1 because I'll grab the other 2 that remain. It's almost like a game within a game of who you want to ban and where you want to. I don't even know how to explain it. It was a cool game within a game that made you really realize. You know, the big one is always, should I take 2 soul gazers? Because it's very hard to grab souls with a non-soul gazer. I don't want to say it's essential because you can win without. So a lot of people I played, and I also myself, would always put 2 soul gazers in my 5, knowing if you ban one, I still get the other. But then they can screw you over and ban your defender. And now I know I don't have the guy that's got 1 billion wounds. That's going to essentially be my wall. Like I used Sir Marcus a lot. He was one of my favorites.
He's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
And so there was that was like, I love game within games. I always love the like meta side of games. That is like the old Blood Bowl thing, special play card. What did you say? Did you say you're in a dodge? No. Okay. Meanwhile, my card said like free t-shirts after the game 10,000 gold. So I thought that was really cool. And then the game itself is also cool, but the idea that there's a fun little meta there that we didn't know. Like when me, Biran, Mike, and Ryan played, and Tony, I think, played at Grognard, we didn't know if what we're doing is what the masses do. Because I knew I was going to play in a tournament at Adepticon, and I'm like, maybe there's a tactic. Maybe there's like a, maybe people just grabbed, 2 of these and 2 of these, and then one other ones, they just don't even take the other class.
That's why I asked Tony.
Yeah. Was it helpful?
Yeah, well, if I was playing against him, no, because he would give me the bad advice.
Are you in love with Tony, Biran? Okay. It seems like you do have a very high affection level for him.
I do. I don't think he likes me back, but that's okay.
Well, because he doesn't see value in you.
Right. It's an unrequited love.
You are.
But he's very good at that game.
He's good at every game.
Yeah.
So Spencer, tell me, and I don't want you to get mad the next thing I say, but when the new Kickstarter was announced, you didn't seem too psyched. Now you are psyched. So one, is it fair?
But before we get to the new one, what was your first tournament experience like at, say, Grognard Games?
Okay. Actually, I want to touch on one thing before we go into that one. And that's just because I did say that I thought I was going to hate that mechanic. And then Sean and I actually, forced ourselves to try it out. And that became one of our favorite parts of the game.
Okay.
And going back to what you said, like there's, a specific type of game I enjoy. And I'm starting to find that it's games that keep my mind active even when I'm not playing. So just that like pick and ban, like in my head, trying to think of lists and thinking of like what my opponent would ban. So what I would, what would I take if he banned this? Or what if I take if he banned this? Or could I take a model that would, lure a ban out of my opponent? Like it just became like a whole nother game in my head when I didn't get to play. And that just added even more value to it for me.
So the tournaments, Biran, are you saying this was a tournament at Grognard, right?
Yes.
It was like 2 weeks after Adepticon.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could not believe that we came out for that because Sean and I don't get out to Chicago very often. It's like maybe once, maybe twice a year. So the fact that we were able to get back out like, less than a month later for that convention, that tournament was crazy. That just showed how much like me and Sean both loved this game.
The iron was very hot.
Yeah, it was so hot. Like everyone was so psyched about it. I still remember getting a picture of John that he hates because he looks like a goon.
Which one? Me?
But, yeah, that your mouth's like wide open and you're like, you gotta delete that picture.
Is that because you photoshopped your penis in it?
No, his penis was in it. You told him to Photoshop it out.
I photoshopped out.
And that happened at Grognard Games, everyone. In Roselle. What he just
was Illinois.
It was Illinois.
No, I bring it up because I beat both the Stevens brothers.
Yes, you did. That was. I got beat by John. I got beat by you. I think I only won one game that event. But I didn't care because
that's why you're on today, is to remind me of one of my victories in life, which there's not a many.
With that game,
yeah, which was funny.
Rare.
And that was the thing too, because you wanted me to run you through a game the next Adepticon, and in my mind was that game, the last game we played, where you absolutely trounced me, and then like I played normal, and you're like, oh, you just beat the shit out of me. I'm like, we've played before.
Yeah. I wanted to bring my own custom dice with more J's on it. And
well, it's just my initials.
Right, it's my initials. And Guns got me at the door and said, "Not on my watch."
Right.
Fucking Guns, man. That tournament, that was after Adepticon, but then there was Judgment tournament at Adepticon the next year.
The following year, right? Yeah. Yep.
And that's where I just got fucking destroyed. That was
yeah, I didn't realize you were that much out of the game. I thought you just kind of like needed a refresher on the order of things going on. So I played you normal because I remember you beating the crap out of me, and I felt really bad that you were just like,
no.
Didn't like
one. And this goes for all games we'll play for the rest of our lives. Never feel bad. Beat the shit out of me in every game because I don't expect anything less. With that said, I did not play the game. And I actually showed somebody here in Colorado like a month into moving here, the game, and just to kind of gauge interest. And I could tell it wasn't going anywhere. So I basically just did nothing. I didn't even want to paint the big models. So I struck up a deal with Jeffro to, I'll give you these if you paint these. And it was almost like a last hurrah into the game for me. And
Was
then
that the only event you did at that Adepticon?
Besides our homemade Devil's Run, yeah. I still did that because that was our, and Super Show maybe? If we did Super Show, we did that too.
Yeah, probably.
But as far as miniature games, yeah. I mean, the Devil's Run is just, yelling head on and yelling nice, guard nice. That was
hiding the entire time just to get a medal. That was my play.
Right. That was the only structured event, I guess we could say. And then soon after, I ended up selling everything I owned to your friend Spencer, and just because it was zero to do with the game itself, and I want to make that clear, and it'll come out in my rating too. The game is a fun game. It was just I had to make the decision that it doesn't look like I'm going to play this game anymore. Not for lack of trying, but just from this ain't going to sell. I'm not looking, and you can see our champion in the game episode. By the way, I have to start putting them actually in. I do this with the finger. Then
You're actually right above where it will be this time.
Perfect. There it is.
Nice.
The champion game. I did not want to champion this game. No knock on the game. It's just too much work, too much effort, too much work. Yeah. So
it's really hard at the price point too.
Yeah. So right. Yeah, that was
$50, $55 a model. It's hard to get people in.
Well, and the availability is tough too.
Yeah.
I think the person I showed initially said, "Oh, the models are really expensive." To which I did the standard retort, "Yeah, but you only need 5." And then it's like an existing conversation.
It didn't matter.
We all run
conversion rate. It's a box of tactical Marines.
Right. Models are expensive. We don't need a lot. But but I'm going to want everything. Well, that's not my problem. Like this is like the standard conversation you have about this game. Meanwhile, yes, Biran, you're totally right. One assassin from Games Workshop, which is this much plastic, is $35 or $40, I think now. And one box of tactical Marines, 5 guys, is $60, I think. So you shouldn't really have to have that argument, but inevitably it is discussed while those are expensive.
I was trying to compare it to starter sets and everything else, but it just did not matter because they would look at the per model cost, and it was larger than what they're used to.
We know
the models,
very specific people that go by what's the price per model for total value.
Right. I want to know model count per value, and it's such a stupid even discussion, honestly, because so do all cars cost the same? Do all houses cost the same? It's such a dumb conversation to have.
It's a dumb metric. We were at Grognar Games playing Age of Sigmar, and we looked at the Sons of Baphomet or what? How do you say that?
Is that the ogre army?
Yeah, well, the super giant.
The giant army.
Yeah, or it's like $200 per model.
Yeah. Oh, too expensive. Well, how many?
You need 2.
Right. Yeah. How many do you think you need? You're not building fucking giant regiments.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. That was an initial hard sell. Shouldn't have been, but it is what it is. I'd like to think if I were to jump into the new Kickstarter and basically forget the past, go in fresh, a lot of those hurdles are gone. Would that be correct, Spencer?
Yeah, definitely. And my thing is, I talked to Andrew quite a bit. He's one of the creators of the game. And that was the one feedback they'd constantly hear is it's too expensive, too expensive, too expensive. They even dropped the prices to all the entire model range, trying to help people get into it, and people were still complaining about it. And that's really the
old models. They dropped the price of the
old models. Yeah, they dropped them like 15-20%. They're minimizing the amount of money they were even getting out of it to minimal. They were just trying to sell it as cheap as they could to get people to play.
I think the models are a great value for money.
I think
they're fantastic.
I would have never dropped the price only because it's almost like you're giving in, because the moment you do that, now you're telling people you're willing to play the game of well, if price isn't, meanwhile, it's like, no. Don't compare, because that is not this. How much are you going to spend total on the models you need? It's way less than any army. But the moment you start kind of caving in, I think it's tough to climb out of that, because now you're never going to be able to charge $55 for a model again, even though it is worth it. Like you said, Biran, it is worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the same.
I think at the same time,
go ahead.
You work on a model, you work on a game for 5 years, and you get everything ironed out to where you have this great working game, and then people just aren't playing it because you can't even get them through the door because they're turned off by the price immediately. Like you only go to so many conventions and experience that.
Right. That's also what they tell you is why too. It's kind of like when someone goes, "Hey, how'd you hear about us?" You're basing your marketing off of what someone happened to say that day. They say, "Oh, it's the price." There's always other factors. There's always other. I think more so, price is the easiest thing to say. Want to know why? Because that's not my fault. If I say it's too expensive, that's why I don't play. Now there's no, it's not on me anymore. That's your fault. The reality is, this is a game, much like what we spoke of in our Champion in the Game episode, that requires work on a player's end. That's the real reason someone doesn't get into it. There's no way price is a reason, because once again, when you average it all out, not per model, but per collection, we'll say, it's not more than what a typical miniature.
But sometimes you can't even get the people to the booth because they see that price ticket.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's a cop-out answer, frankly. It's probably true for some people, but I think
it's less insulting for the creator, because it's like, I'm not saying your game's shit or anything you did was bad. It's just the realities of the market.
Yeah. And it's
I would say that if I didn't experience it myself so many times when I was trying to push this game, like I would just constantly get that, they'd be super interested in the game, and then I'd tell them, well, how much is this guy? And I'd tell them, and then I'd try to preface it, but you only need this much. And they'd already stopped listening as soon as I said the price.
It was weird.
Oh, good.
It was a weird thing too, though. The models were both like the draw into the game, but then also the hurdle to get other people into the game because of the cost. Like the people that wanted to paint those models and stuff, they were willing to play whatever game they were going with, as long as it wasn't horrible, because those models were so cool. But then trying to sell it to someone else at the game store that doesn't have that same, attachment to the models, they're never going to get over the price.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a weird thing.
It was a blessing and a curse to have that model range. Spencer, tell me why this new one's going to be different.
Well, the new one is they just kind of took everything and ran with it, because every single thing I've heard, like as a criticism to this game, has been resolved in 2.0. So 2.0, they had to reduce the scale down to 32 millimeter, because that was the only way they could reduce the cost per model farther than what they did already. So they paired up with Creature Caster, who's doing all the sculpts. They actually went through, resculpted the entire range at 32 millimeter. So it's not just like resizing. They went through and like Creature Caster went through and resculpted every model in the game.
Wasn't it all digital though?
It was, but they just went through and resculpted it because they kind of wanted it to fit that Creature Caster style, because they also ended up using some existing Creature Caster models that they made rules for.
Oh,
because Creature Caster wanted like in on the game too.
Okay, so
it's like a partnership now.
It's not the same design scale down. They're actually new poses.
Fresh sculpts. Okay, yes. Okay. And some people look like, very different, and then some people, they're just like the slightest of changes. But it was nice that they didn't just, scale down the same model. You're rebuying everything. They actually went through and did fresh sculpts for everyone.
Is Creature Caster in the U.S.?
Canada.
They're out of Canada. Yep.
So it'll be probably easier to get them at least too.
Yes.
For us,
and I know
that matters.
Yeah. Yeah. Even Andrew was starting to go through Muse on Minis with the larger guys, trying to make it easier to get it in the U.S.
Yeah, because he shared a booth with them, didn't he?
Before.
Yeah.
Yeah. For a couple of years.
That was I ended up, when I was looking for models, a couple at Adepticon, a couple at Grognard, and then the rest I had to get online. I think it was Discount Games.
Yeah.
Discount Games.
And it just,
Yep.
obviously it was great using them, but you know, there's something to be said for, like we've said in many of our episodes, the old walk by and grab, that goes a long way. And so do you think, I know Creature Caster people are raving about the models, but what about the distribution side? Is it still going to be a pain in the ass?
I don't think so. Just because I've never had, like, I don't go on Creature Caster and look at their models and see sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. Like everything I've ever wanted to buy from Creature Caster, either at a convention or on their website, I've been able to get, you know, without an issue. And, you know, they've just been, you know, they've been at it for years. So it's not like they're a brand new company starting off.
Do they
them.
have things with like local game shops? I don't know if I've ever seen Creature Caster at a game store.
I haven't, but I also think they're more specialized in individual models and not so much lines, to where now they'll have you know, actual, you know, the Judgment line to work with.
So they'll not just sell the miniatures; they'll sell like the starter boxes and everything.
Yeah, they're going to be selling everything. Basically, the Galea brothers are just doing the rules and the balancing of the game, and Creature Caster is dealing with all of the production and
all the
distribution.
logistics. Yeah.
So, exactly. So that, you know, that kind of lets them do what they're good at, and then they're letting Creature Caster do what they're good at.
I think Creature Caster sells the steak. The Galea brothers sell the sizzle.
Exactly.
Spencer.
Like, getting back to the value.
Yeah, well, so you said you don't think it'll be an issue. Is it fair to say that in a year from now, and I'm putting you on the spot because we want to be able to bring this up later on to make fun of you.
Yeah, that's fine.
1 year from now, can I go to Grognard Games in Rose, Illinois and see Creature Caster Judgment models on the shelf?
Yeah, because he stocked it before. So
yeah,
I can see him stocking it.
Hold on. If you're Todd, and he's a businessman before he's a gamer, yeah, I did stock before as a favor to these assholes
who already bought everything online.
Yeah. I didn't make anything from it because I sold it at the clearance section.
Yeah, but he sold it at cost, not at a loss, too. So
I would say at cost is a loss because now you're wasting shelf space on something that could be making money.
Plus, next year is after the Kickstarter, they're launching this game at Adepticon, so it'd be kind of silly for him to not have it on a shelf.
Okay.
Todd should perhaps partner and be the exclusive provider of Judgment at Adepticon.
Whoa.
Ooh.
I think the Creature Caster booth will probably have that, but
damn it.
Is it true that Todd might maybe recast them, put them in new packages, and spell the word Judgment correctly on his packages?
Using troll cast resin.
Yeah. Using actually one level, we're going to go mole cast resin.
Oh.
One level below. It's basically like if you look at it, it just fucking disintegrates.
It's the opposite of an M&M. It melts in your hand, not in your mouth.
Right. I don't know what we're on now, Spencer. So tell me that with the game Judgment 2.0, Galea Brothers working on the rules, Creature Caster working on the models. Tell me what you know about how this game is different.
Well, we'll go back just real quick to talk about the value of the Kickstarter. You asked me before, we didn't get to it. They actually have two different levels. They have the collector's resin, which is what you're used to from Creature Caster. But then they also have the hero, players, competitors pledge, which is pre-assembled PVC. So you can actually get 11 heroes after their stretch goals right now, and Gloom, and all 3 skeletons for the summoner, and a neoprene mat, all the cardboard tokens, some cardboard tiles for the train, all for $88.
Wow.
That's insane.
How is because I mean the material varies depending on a million factors. Are we talking about like bones, or are we talking about what are we looking at?
Did you guys, any of you guys have the Judgment core starter that had the Bastion and Rakir and Gloom in it that was pre-assembled already?
I had it, but it wasn't pre-assembled.
No, they came out with new ones that were PVC. But that's the same material that Jaeger was made out of, right?
Yeah, but this time it's actually going to be, it's supposed to be harder this time, so it's not going to be, very flexible at all. So I heard it's hard PVC, so it's not all bendy, and it's supposed to, since it's hard, it's supposed to retain a lot more detail. So the PVC, like once it's painted up nicely, it's going to be extremely difficult to tell the two apart.
For a comparison, so far, something like Star Wars Legion models.
I'm not familiar with them.
Or
yeah, all I know is it's hard PVC.
I'm just trying to put it in perspective because like it's such a weird like, you know, oh, it's PVC, board game play, like what, like it's such a.
There's so many different grades within that.
Yeah, just like with resin too. Like resin's not resin. Even hard plastic isn't hard plastic anymore.
Oh, I know, because you got polystyrene hard plastic, you got regular hard plastic, that then you have rustic. There's so many materials. But the nice thing is since it is Creature Caster into it, they've built their brand on quality miniatures. Like that's all they do is sell, high quality miniatures. So there's no way in hell they're going to be putting out crap. Like that's their name on the box, and that's what they're known for. So I've talked to a few people that are dealing with the hard PVC, and I've heard good things about them, and I've heard they're even an improvement from the PVC they used before. And I thought those were good. If they're going to be even better, then I'm happy about it.
Are you trying to secure a volunteer job with them?
No, I don't volunteer.
Like right now.
Did you watch the Zlurpcast episode and that's how you learned it's a bad idea?
I almost died at Gen Con, and that's how I learned it's a bad idea.
Yeah, so real quick, that moment when I ran into you at Gen Con and you look like
I was dying.
Yeah, I think you had COVID-17 back then.
Yeah, I had an internal infection that was actually spreading to my organs, and I almost ended up in the hospital.
You looked terrible, and I was thinking what are you doing to him? Like I couldn't believe it. You were still were you running a Guild Ball tournament?
I was running Guild Ball events, and I had to tell them I'd worked the entire convention, and I was supposed to work the next day. I messaged him on Facebook and like, look, I'm dying in the hotel room. I'm not even leaving my room. I can't do anymore. And I ended up sleeping. They said the entire last day of Gen Con. Yeah.
Hey, you're fired. You're like, I don't even work here.
Exactly. I'm like, I just worked like 1 million hours and got the same thing as a dude who worked 5. So bye.
There you go. No, you've seen the worst of the worst when it comes to volunteering. But now you are a bit rejuvenated, if you will, in your love for what Judgment has become. Is there possibly an unpaid position in your future?
No, I'll come and talk about Judgment, but I'm not running events or conventions or anything like that.
You're better than that now.
I just know my limits, and I don't have it in me anymore to do that stuff.
Yep. If you're going to get internal infection, you better be getting paid.
Exactly.
Xtreme learned that.
I thought I was going to die. It was awful.
Yeah,
my friend who was working, Don Roach, he kept coming in the hotel room on his breaks to make sure he didn't have to take me to the emergency room. Like that's how bad I was.
He was like, you know what? You don't look so good. I got a game of Drop Zone I got to get to, but I will check on you in 4 hours.
Yeah, it was so bad.
Yeah, it's just bad. Oh. You got completely taken advantage of, and I mean, is it fair? I know Guild Ball's kind of like gone now, but is it fair to say that a miserable experience volunteering soured you a little on the game?
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I didn't play much. I didn't play nearly as much after it.
Did your volunteering experience give you any code browns?
No.
Because I heard internal infection, I think code brown.
Yeah, it was not code brown, thankfully.
Did you
I couldn't.
Well, I mean, you were in the hotel room alone. Did you have a rough code white?
You're like, I'm feeling really sick, but I still have to do this, knowing that Don Roach is going to sleep in my wet spot.
I read online that doing this might make me feel better, and it's like, no.
Nothing was making me feel better. Like that was, yeah. But
so that won't happen with Judgment. You will be an advocate of the game and the company, especially the new edition. You realize your limits. You don't want to volunteer, but Is it fair to say right now you're going all in on Judgment 2.0?
Yeah, I'm not doing an all-in pledge because I don't make fat cash, but I am eventually going to rebuild my collection to what my 54 scale is.
There's still time to change. I mean, you're saying that now, but you know, when the pledge
once that pledge manager launches,
right? Because they'll take the money out initially, so then when the pledge manager comes, all your mind thinks you're spending is the new stuff. It doesn't remember what was already spent. So now
that money's gone.
Right, that's gone. It's spoken for. So now, it's only an extra $60 to get the rest of the stuff, and you're going to add it all on.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Definitely, as the days tick down on this Kickstarter, I have revised my pledge probably 4 times already.
Have they always gone up or they go down?
Yes, they've gone up.
Okay.
I started at PVC and then switched to resin, and then I've added a character pack, and then I've added another character pack, and then I've added the 5v5 mat. Like, yeah, I've
always go up for the bigger mats. I always got to get the neoprene. Neoprene's I'm a sucker.
Yeah.
And
my thing too is like the 5v5. You get a 5v5 as long as you have like the mid-tier pledge with the 3D terrain on it. If you get the 5v5 mat, they throw in another box of 3D terrain.
You're leaving money on the table.
You have enough terrain.
Yeah, exactly.
You're losing money by not spending more.
Yeah, I hated the scale change, but then when I saw the Kickstarter and the value for everything and saw it wasn't going to absolutely kill me to rebuy stuff in the new scale, then it wouldn't bother me as much.
Judgment 3.0, 10 millimeter scale.
Oh no, I can't paint 10 millimeter. I'm getting too old to see 10 millimeter.
No, it's actually easier because you don't have to do everything.
Judgment 4.
I want to. I'll know it's there.
Let's go 0.1 millimeter.
Yep. Oh shit.
Right. Then I just say
there go my minis.
I just say, look at them. Look,
I played the palm of my hand.
Right. Oh shit. Spencer, sell me on 5v5 because I did not like that version of the game the first time. I only liked 3-on-3. Why was that closed-minded of me?
I think 5v5 is one of those things where once you played a lot of 3v3 and you really have the game down and you really know like all your heroes and what they can do, 5v5 just kind of like turns everything on its head because you have a lot more strategy. There's a lot more depth in 5v5, and everyone handles a lot differently on the larger board.
Yeah. Because
you're so used to, the confined spaces of a 2x2 board. As soon as you open the extra, to 3x3, like it seems gigantic. And then you're getting more support on your team because you're needing the buffs they provide to get you around the table and where you need to be. And it's just, there's so much more depth to the 5v5.
How does the game look of what you've seen of 2.0? I assume the boards are still a 2x2 and a 3x3. So does it look as striking with the smaller miniatures?
I think I was afraid of that, and then I actually watched some of the YouTube videos where they have the promotional kits out painted, and as long as they had the 3D terrain on the board still, I think it looked awesome because actually the shrines and the effigies weren't overshadowed by how big the minis were. Yeah. So you actually were seeing everything at different depths, and it actually made it more visually interesting.
I wanted to see proper effigy sizes with the old models. They should have been at least this big.
Oh, I know, but you can only store so big. Like I can't carry that much.
I don't want this. You're transporting 20 high quality painted 54 millimeter models. Throw a fucking tube in the box and then plop it on the table.
Will the PVC Brock still have a broken off machete?
No, because he actually has a two-handed axe now.
Oh, bummer.
I think
you can either have a bald head or a big like Slayer mohawk.
I'm trying to think. I can't remember what model I had that kept breaking. So I just now your staff is your neck. Like now it is one in the same. It was like the Bo Jackson card with the shoulder pads. It's one in the same because at a certain point, like when those old models broke, you're never going to get back to how it was.
No,
like they were just like Bastion's staff. If you broke that, he needs to get fucking nunchucks from now on. Like it's never going to get back to it. I'm guessing the new models that's just not going to happen just because of the material, right?
Yeah, there's always, especially if you go with the PVC, you're going to have a lot more, you know, they're going to have a lot more durability to them. Like if you get the resin, you know, resin. Resin is just, you know, to me, I've probably had like 100+ texts with different people since this Kickstarter has gone live, and everyone, the number one question is, do I go PVC or resin? And what I've told every single person is, unless you are planning to enter these in painting contests or putting them on display, get PVC. Because
why not both?
Yeah, if you want to buy them both, that's all good.
No, Spencer,
I'll pay for the PVC.
Was that a humble brag? Like, are you saying you have 100 friends, or you got 100 tech between 3 friends?
No, not. Yeah, it was not 100 friends. I've gotten, my phone was like going dead from the amount.
I got 100 different texts, and I just didn't know.
From different people.
You were trying. Okay.
Oh no, it was 100 people. No, I don't know as many people like you, John. I don't have that many friends.
I'm just saying. Is it,
I'm not famous on the radio.
No, I'm not. Is it like 70 from Sean, 30 from Xtreme? Like, how did it? Like, I just didn't know how it broke up.
Yeah, it was. You know, people from Chicago, people from my own local group. You know, people on the west side of the state, or just people I know, like that have talked
Where are they
about Judgment
here?
online.
So this is how you guys do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is. I'm backwards now. Yep. So.
Back order.
Shit, I'm backwards again.
What's that bump on your hand, man? Seriously.
What?
You got a weird bump on your hand.
This one?
Yeah.
I don't know.
The other hand.
You got them on both.
Well, that's normal then, right, Mike? If you had, I always thought.
Symmetrical.
I don't know.
You have one.
I don't even know.
Is it like a rib for jerking off or something?
It's for his pleasure.
I have it on both hands, so I feel like one would be bigger than the other.
So you're doing this?
Question for Mike.
I mean, you got two-handed like Brock.
Mike, as the scientist among us, is this like those moments of evolution where, like, based on need, things are happening?
Are you saying Spencer is more likely to reproduce with a female?
We're down here, and the other player group's down here.
Anyways.
Okay. Spencer, so the joke about the friends actually was going somewhere, because I wanted to know, when you're talking to all these people, it sounds like, are you kind of going to be the local advocate of this game and start getting things going?
Yeah, just probably in the beginning, and then someone else will hopefully take over on events, because I'd rather play in them than run them.
They won't. If you do,
yeah, I know.
If you do them, they will not.
I know. That's why I don't run them. I just talk about, hey, it would be fun if we had those.
And then you say, well,
someone does it.
If I don't do it, no one else will. And then you enter the lucrative world of pro bono gaming work.
Yeah, I've done that. I don't want to go back that world.
Is there a store you're going to play this at? And is that store, how do they feel about games that are primarily online for buying?
We play primarily at a store called Our House Games here in Monroe, and they're pretty good about. They actually asked me to just bring in whatever game we're playing at the time, because every time we play, we're usually playing painted, and it always draws people over, and they want to know more about the minis. They want to know more about painting, and a lot of times the stores can sell sell paints and other stuff, and we try to use like Reaper bones and stuff like that from the store to make our effigies and stuff like that out of.
They appreciate
even if they didn't.
$2 here and there.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, they didn't mind as long as people were back there like playing on the gaming tables, because then more people wanted to check out tabletop games. Maybe it wasn't Judgment that they go look at the Bones minis and want to try painting minis for the first time. Yeah. So it was more stuff like that they were after.
That's fair. I think there's a lot to be said for the painted model hobby. And while some game shop owners might kind of scoff at, well, we don't sell that, we want to sell Age of Sigmar or 40K, there is something to be said for just the cool aspect of nicely painted models on a table. How do I get into something like that? Here, let me show you these expensive books. And then they walk them over to the expensive aisle. That says,
What's that game they're playing there? That is Warhammer 40,000. Let me.
Right, that is a supplement to Warhammer 40,000. Cool. Do I get like a Minotaur that has an axe and a gun? Well, no.
But you have to start with these Space Marines.
You're going to want to start with Primaris, okay? And you need 7 lieutenants to start. Okay. So Spencer, this new version of Judgment, this is something that, what is the sweet spot buy-in people are looking at?
I think it's just the initial hero pledge, like that base level lowest pledge, but it gives you like the most bang for your buck. I think the only other one that I've seen a lot of is like the next tier up, and that will give you, and that's if you want 3D terrain, like because you get a 3D terrain pack, and then you get a 3D token set in that one.
Are the terrain packs on hexes? Is like a hex piece with the terrain on? Yes. Sweet.
Yep. And it's and it even has like terrain that's like stretching over like those hexes, so it's not just like one on one, one on the other, one on the other. And the cool thing I really like is their 3D forest, like their 3D forests, you can still fit models on the hexes without having to remove the forest from the table.
Oh, nice.
So that was awesome to see.
Does it go around the hex?
Yeah, it kind of like goes in the middle of where the hexes are. So you still have the spaces on the outside of the hexes to fit your models. Because like they're using
way bigger than the model bases?
They're 45 flat to flat, and the bases are 40.
Oh, okay.
So they did that. They wanted a little bit bigger hexes. That way you could still use your 54 millimeter models on the new neoprene mats, and the original version 1 models will always be tournament legal. So if you had the entire line and you didn't want to reinvest, you could basically just buy the neoprene mat.
And maybe tournament
all the apps.
Players who have went through.
I don't like mixing scales.
Well, yeah. I was going to say, is there going to be some? Yeah, it's legal, but we don't talk to that guy anymore.
I don't think so. I think it's just more like some people don't like to mix scales because it kind of just detracts from the being able to get into the game. Like it just me thinking about having one tiny miniature and then the rest of my stuff be the big 54.
No, I'm the same way.
To me, that sounds awful.
At a certain point, why even use models then? Because now we've decided we don't care. We don't care what it looks like.
The only thing that I'd give a pass is if you use the 54 on like the monsters that you fight or the elementals, because to me, like visually, that is awesome.
Maybe they should be that big too.
And maybe they will, because the next stretch goal is actually a monster scenario, like a massive monster scenario, which Sean and I have been like wanting for years now. So where you can actually like possibly co-op and go against like one of the giant creature caster demons.
That's pretty cool.
And they also have one of the stretch goals is a alternate game modes PDF. So they have one for team games where 2 people can go against 2 people. And then they have a 4-player battle royale. So I'm enjoying that you have different stuff you can play.
The fact that it's on hexes now, so I'm guessing I was never a big fan of laying down pipe, if you will. I got a guy here. I'm going to lay the 7 stick next to him. I'm going to lay the 3 there. I'm going to lay the 2 there. I never liked the style of it. I actually would rather use tape measure, but that's all gone, right?
It's gone. It's gone. And I thought of you immediately when they announced this. They're full on hexes, because I remember playing with you at AdeptCon and go, man, I would love this game if it was just on hexes.
Totally. And the thing, like, I'll play battle games measured all day, because when you got 300 models on the board, nobody really gives a fuck. Mm-hmm. You're just pushing stuff around. But when you're playing 3 guys on a table, that is the most important thing in the world. And guess what? Yep. I don't know if everyone's ever been to Adepticon, but everyone's ass and bag are slamming into every fucking table everywhere. There's guys, kicking over chairs, knocking into this. It's just a wobbly model environment. So on a tournament level, I hate the level of measuring to that extent. I just saw.
And this game is fussier than most when it came to that.
It really is. Yeah.
Because I played so many games.
The dynamic poses.
Yeah. What's that? I was gonna say I played so many games where somebody just, you know, spent 5 minutes measuring, getting 2-inch range, 3-inch range, being out of this 3-inch range. And they finally get the miniature down. And because the model's in a dynamic pose, it's got a hangover. Somebody knocks something over. And it's like, what the fuck was that? And then we're like, well, we don't assume this. And it's like,
they had their proxy base there. But when you actually drop in, you know, Grogan or Corgan or whatever, it's like, bleh. And it's like, well, there goes your whole 10-minute setup, you know? And taking that out of the picture, would you say that opens the game up to board gamers? The fact that it's PVC right out of the box, it's on hexes, it's on cards, there's an app. Would you say that someone who plays, you know, board games with miniatures could jump on this game?
I think so. And I think that's really the direction that a lot of tabletop, you know, companies are going now, is these bridge type games that, you know, bridge the gap and blur the lines between the two. You know, you have, you know, games like, you know, Riot Quest, and now you have Judgment, and then, you know, there's all kinds of other games, you know, more coming out as time goes by, but where you don't have to be familiar with using widgets and proxy bases and tape measures to do your stuff. You can, if you come from a board game background, you're like, yeah, movement, I can count hexes. Like, it's, you know, same thing with your how far your melee ranges are and things like that. You can count hexes, you know, super fast. And my favorite part about it was watching, you know, games being played within I watched a 3v3 game while they're still talking about the game itself, and the video was seriously a half hour long. Like, you can just pump these games out so much faster now, and no one's like sweating the small stuff when it comes to measuring, and you're getting to just enjoy the tactical side of the game instead of, you know, am I a millimeter out or am I in?
Was this
sorry,
go ahead.
I enjoyed going into my bag and being able to pull out, you know, all these widgets and steppers and proxy bases and everything, and just throw them on the table and take them out of my bag, and I don't have to, you know, carry that shit anymore.
What's the second?
The fact I can just sit.
Steppers, yeah. It's the ones that have they have the little cutouts on the side in inch increments, so you can just take a base and immediately do an inch or a 2-inch move without actually, you know, quickly measuring it. So it's kind of like a combination of a measuring widget and a proxy base. Yeah. Hearing you say that, it's like what I imagine Xtreme when Xtreme is ordering drugs. He's like, let me get some proxies, let me get some let me get some widge, let me get some widge, some tokes.
One thing I will miss about the measuring, when the limited time I played, was obsessive compulsives that would line up their sticks.
Oh,
yeah,
smallest, largest, and I would just
go.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and I'm coming from games that are like, measurement is such a big deal, and if you accidentally like bump a model, it is like the end of the world to people, even if it's by an accident, because they're so serious about it.
My thing was playing Judgment, and you know, the one mat had the forest in the middle. I would always put trees in there. Inevitably, the movement would get fucked up because I put trees in there. It was like, I would rather have the trees and risk this thing shifting 2 millimeters. But taking that out is great. You brought up Riot Quest. Was that a conscious decision, you think, to go after that game and kind of say, we're going to be competition to that?
I think Privateer Press just wanted to make something, you know, lighthearted and fun.
No, the other way. Judgment
I don't
to that style.
Maybe. I don't know. I think maybe he was just trying to open it up to more people, which I think this version has been the number one thing that they've been focused on, is opening this up to as many people as they can. So not having to worry about teaching people how to, you know, measure accurately, and just doing hexes instead, and, you know, having, you know, miniatures that are a lot more affordable, but keeping the game set rules wise, you know, super tight like it has been, and not changing a lot when it comes to rules. You know, it really just seemed like they're trying to get, you know, more people to play.
Do you think? Go ahead, Xtreme. Sorry.
It seems from looking at it like rather than them kind of adapting or trying to go against other games that are out there, they're just fixing every hurdle about getting into the game there was. Like you don't have to, any of the stuff that were normally would be a deal breaker when you're explaining the game is now not there anymore.
Exactly. And that's how I felt too.
Do you think there's a group that might want, hey, can you guys make a version 1 update? We still want to play the old way. Like, is there going to be like
we're going to make our own 2.0?
Right. Like we want.
That's already happened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's already happened. Like people are, can you leave, the apps open with the version 1 cards? Can you, can you have 2 different apps? And, there's always going to be the diehards who don't want to move on to a different version. But my thing is, as long as you had the cards or whatever, there's nothing stopping you from rolling out your mat and playing the old way with with the models.
Well, if you need the app, just fucking screenshot them. Like,
exactly.
It's there. They give it to you for free, so you can easily do that. I just wasn't sure if there was we want new models and we want new rules updates, but we still want to measure kind of like an old hammer group of people, essentially.
I think there's more blowback on scale change than hexes, to be perfectly honest.
Because of the
event. That was more, and that was my biggest hurdle to get over, was the scale change. I didn't know if I was going to do it or not.
You unfucked yourself.
Yeah.
Would you say that when you first heard about New Judgment, you were fucked, and in between that time and this moment, you have become unfucked?
Right. Yep. It was quite the fucking too. So it took me a while to get unfucked.
Well, you had everything painted, right? You and Sean?
We had a lot of our stuff painted, not everything, but a lot of it. And between the two of us, we had every single mini in the range, and we had every single mat. Which, when you got the announcement, that was 54 is out, and we're going to all hexes. So
did you
that
table
was
flip?
everything.
Did you table flip?
No, because it's
I was. Yeah. They stay in my cabinets.
I bet I know what ran through your head. I bet you thought, we'll try the new rules, but we're using these models no matter what.
Yeah. Yep. That was the beginning. And yeah, I was like, we'll buy a hex mat, give it a whirl, and it'll just be us playing this game with the old minis.
It is a weird. I don't want to use I don't know what the right phrase is. It's not a slap in the face, but it's like could you imagine though, someone just finishing painting the entire collection and then saying, nope, like, well, you can still use them. Like, that's not the right answer.
It felt like a Band-Aid. Like it felt like but you can still use them whenever, but it's like, that's not what I wanted to hear. Like,
you know what else?
It was one of those things.
Yeah. Guess what? This is my new ogre. It's Scotch tape. It's double-sided.
Yeah.
You can use anything you want. Doesn't fucking matter. It's not a real answer.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, I understood exactly where they're coming from. Like they one thing about those guys is they're open, like, about everything. Like they do, ask me anythings. They do, they're constantly doing, update videos and stuff like that, telling you like what's going on, why they're doing it. They're pretty transparent when it comes to, what they're doing for the business and why they're doing it. And having that, like, even though I was like, super aggravated by it, like, I also understood what he was saying at the same time, which then made it like, well, either I need to, get in with the new scale and continue collecting the game that, I've grown to really, really love, or, sit on the stuff I have and forever use old models.
Right. Live in the past or adapt.
Exactly. And it really wasn't until the day of the Kickstarter that I made up my mind.
Yeah, I was surprised. You were really a kind of against it. And then the day of the Kickstarter, you were kind of coming around a little bit, and I was like, oh, good.
I told Brian, I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this. I like Andrew a lot. I don't want to say anything bad. Like,
yeah, gamers are all fucking talk though. Like they shit talk everything, and then when a time something comes out, Yeah, I'm probably going to do it. Like, we all do it.
Yeah. And so many of my friends have called, like, texted me saying they did like the all-in
again
bundle
showing
with
off
resin.
and your friends.
You said so many. Is that double digits or single digits?
It's single digits, but it's a $667 pledge. So way more than I thought. Yeah.
One of
they
your
did the collector's resin and all in.
So you have friends with that kind of money? That's a double humble brag, my friend.
I know 4 people who did it.
You have 4 friends that have over $667 to their name?
Yeah, not anymore. Well, once they collect the money.
Monroe living, my friend. Look at you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was like, you guys are crazy. I'm like, I'm buying the base set and adding a couple character packs.
We'll see. There's time left.
And they say, well, if you add in what Sean buys, then you're at our level.
Sean is currently not buying anything.
Oh, because you'll cover it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, my younger brother is backing it, and he actually backed a higher level than I did. Because all 3 of us played Judgment.
What's his name?
So, Stuart is their younger brother.
Oh, they're all.
Why is it all S's? Is that a thing?
Apparently, in my family, it is.
Do you think?
But yeah, we were all supposed to come to Adepticon 2020. It was going to be Stuart's first one, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
Which I felt so bad for him because he was backlisted for the MCP event, and he finally got into it. And I was signed up for the Judgment events, and then the Friday before canceled.
I wonder if we can do like maybe for the next Adepticon that happens, we can meet, because we're going to meet Spencer's other brother, whatever the equivalent of like a gender reveal thing is, but instead of that, it's like a brother reveal. Yeah. Like, unfortunately now we know it's Stuart, but it'd been more fun if we had to guess the S name, like Slimer, just
Sebastian.
He'll answer to anything. He looks more like Sean than I do. So
did you ever call him Slimer?
No, I never called him Slimer. I used to call him Pubert because of the Addams family.
That's nice. As a middle brother, did you learn the art of punching down and up?
Yes. Yeah, because Sean is 9 years older than me, and then Stuart is 5 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So Sean could pick me up and squat press me above a flight of stairs and threaten to throw me down them if I didn't listen to him. I'd turn around and beat Stuart up.
Well, that's what you got to do. Take it out on those who cannot defend themselves. There was a good amount of years where Sean looked like your dad, right?
Yeah, there's people who thought he was my dad.
Yeah,
that's actually what that's what I meant to say, because I don't know what your dad. What I meant to say was,
I don't know how they do things in Michigan. I mean, maybe that's okay.
You're hanging out with your bros. All of a sudden, it's like, hey, Spencer, your dad's here. It's like, it's not my dad.
Yeah,
that's my brother.
Especially like Blood Bowl events were so bad for that. There's a couple of people who thought he was my dad.
Yeah.
So I wish that made me feel bad for him because he's not that much older than me.
Well, then it's like, when he grabbed your ass, it's like, is it weird because it's your brother or because we thought it was your dad?
It's just weird either way.
Biran Xtreme, Valdric, what are your thoughts on this new Judgment? Are you guys jumping in this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I will have Mike show me it.
Though, because screw that resin shit. But
there are some local Judgment players that I don't want to play with, so we'll have to be careful.
Well, are they watching?
Well, it'll be a friend if because Ryan's in it too and Tony's in it. So
no, they're the ones I like.
I know, but I'm just saying we'll have our own little group.
Right.
I know that Ryan.
I'll be the bridge to the other group in case someone does show up. I'll play them. And
Ryan liked the game. He did not like the E in the word judge in the Judgment though. That was a big thing for him. So I don't know if he got over that or not.
He did.
They're Australian. That's just how they spell it.
It's like program and color.
That's not an excuse. You know what else isn't an excuse? A weird shaped box that costs double the amount to ship. It's like, there's a lot of things we could do. Doesn't mean we should do.
Should be in the standard box of deluxe board games.
Should be, I think.
The Mansions of Madness type style box.
Oh, and if you're using roll-up mats, one would argue, do you need a box anyway? Sure, we like boxes, but...
I just put all my miniatures in the mat and roll it up like a burrito and throw it over my shoulder.
That works. You got to put a little plug on the end.
Yeah.
On one end. So Mike, you're
what do
in.
you guys think of the?
Sorry.
Good.
I'm bad at this. That's why I'm just a guest.
You have. There's a delay. So from now on, whenever Spencer wants to put your hand up, and then we'll call on you. In fact, hold on. Do we have this in Zoom? Do we have the hand thing?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You can turn it on.
No, we don't have to do that. I just wanted to see.
Go ahead, Spencer.
I was just going to see what your guys' thoughts were on the dice mechanic on Judgment, because I feel like that's another thing that was.
Is that changing?
Different for them. No, that is staying exactly the same. But I think it's something to mention just because if people haven't played Judgment before, I thought that was a.
It reminds me a little bit of Dust and Dust Tactics. In the same way where there's like there's where you count your successes and your failures or whatever. So I'm familiar. The dice mechanic is similar to what I'm used to.
Well, I like the dice mechanic a lot because I think that you are adding to a pool and then spending successes as you see fit. And you're right, Biran. Other games do use that. And I like that because in a weird way, it essentially makes your game rules-wise infinite because you can always come up with shit to do for any given character. You know, a lot of games, it's like well, you need threes, you need fours, and everything starts to blend together after a while. But this, you're spending successes to do stuff. At a certain point, you just come up with all kinds of things on the card to spend those successes on. So it leaves you open to come up with anything, is why I always liked it.
And having
my thing is like no matter.
Go ahead.
Spencer, you got to put your hand up when you want to talk. Otherwise, it's too late. Mike already started.
No, it's okay.
Go ahead, Mike.
No,
I was going to say, just having the special abilities, like you need the J. You don't, you know, or you only need 2 crits or 2 hits or 3 hits, but you also need the J. I thought that was nice too. So
yeah, Xtreme. Thoughts on rolling a J?
It's been so long. I should have mentioned that. It's been like 20 years.
20 minutes since he smoked up.
I was going to say.
I call bullshit on that. At some point, you've popped an edible in the last 5 years.
I haven't.
Wow.
Is it legal in Indiana yet?
Actually, it's been 19 years because when I found out I was having a child, I stopped.
You said, look what this did to me.
And now you realize Alex is too smart for his own good. And do you kind of wish you partook a bit?
No.
Okay. So,
Spencer.
He's got 2 hands up.
2 hands up. But no, what I was going to say is like, no matter, like you get used to 40K when you're rolling like tons and tons and tons of dice and you're just, waiting for, dice spikes to happen. With Judgment, like no matter how many dice you roll, you still only get to pick 3 of those results. So you're constantly, deciding if you want to go with, if you want to go with all 3 of them being the hits you rolled, or if you're wanting to, mix in the combat maneuvers to be able to push people way off of objectives or push yourself, across the board. You're constantly kind of like deciding, what's going to be best for you, that activation. So I like the fact that, you can add lots of dice to your pool by, getting people to team up with you and things like that. But it was just increasing your chances of rolling the results you wanted for those 3 ones you get to actually choose. So I like that.
Yeah.
But it caps, you can only get so good. You can't get an avalanche of dice. That's just very.
Right. Yeah. So like, it didn't matter if you rolled 15 dice, you're still only picking 3 of them.
I liked the fixed damage too.
Yeah.
It sped the game up, and sometimes it's like, it's not worth it to do this because I can't kill you. I can't do what I need. So let's try something else.
Yep.
I think it makes you think more, and as opposed to, well, I got a chance, let's just try it, and yeah.
That's how I play.
Let's roll 12 6s. Yeah.
We've covered a lot of random things about the game. Any like individual pros and cons that we like or didn't like about Judgment? Biran, you want to kick it off? We'll go around the horn.
Yeah, I think my biggest con with that was the fussy movement, and I think that's being addressed with this one. pro and a con is I think it has a really high skill cap, where if you play against someone who's good, you are just going to get crushed. It is not, you can't just get lucky and win, which is what I usually rely on. But yeah, and I think the con of the really, I have 2 or 3 models of my collection of 6 or 7 that are broken. And I think that gets addressed too by the PVC models.
You also don't take extra care with your models,
Biran. Sometimes I do.
But with that game?
Not with that game, no, because I didn't like it enough to bother.
Right. That's what I meant.
Right.
Like you're complaining you have broken items, but yet you are the one who broke them.
No, I think Barack Obama, the dwarf. Barack Obama, the dwarf. I just looked at his hatchet and it fell off.
Where was that dwarf born?
Kenya.
Show me the paperwork.
It's not a birth certificate. It's something a little different.
Any other cons besides the the models and the fiddly movements?
No. The availability, like we always talk about, like, hey, this game, and Spencer even brought it up, where like, wow, the game looks great. Where can I buy it? And some places online, go to this website.
Yeah, agreed. I'll go next. I think I agree with Biran. The models and the movement are fixed. The distribution remains to be seen. We don't know if that's gonna, yep. And I will tell you, this is more of my own con with. I don't play MOBAs or DOBAs or GOBAs or JOBAs or JOBU. I don't like respawning. I don't like the idea of it. If I kill you, you're fucking dead, unless you have a necromancer. I'm old school. I like my dead bodies to stay dead unless told to rise.
You wouldn't like the new X-Men run then?
Probably not. But that's just my own hang up with those kind of games. It's part of the rules. It's a big part of it. So but I kind of thought it'd be cool to be like, I kill you, you're dead, you're out of the game. This game, there's a lot of go ahead and kill me. I still got enough souls to win. Like I've never been big on letting things die, knowing you're gaming the game. Like, well, I've got your effigy down to 4 hit points left. So go ahead and kill that guy. I'm going to bring him back later and he'll be right by mine. And I'm going to use him to protect mine next turn. That's a big part of the strategy of the game. It's just, I never liked it personally. So it's more of a self-con on that, but that's, it's just part of the game.
Is that why you don't like Jesus either?
Well, I never met him. It's hard to like or not like somebody you haven't met. So,
because whenever one of my guys died, I'd go, the tomb was empty, and he comes back.
Well, Jesus is one of your guys?
Yeah.
And
usually he's a stretch goal.
I get that release.
Dare I say, I hope you use battle foam.
Oh, he'd be practiced by
Magnarak.
Yeah. That's kind of it for me. Pros, we discussed all that already, but the dice mechanic is really cool. And the models are really cool, but they found a way to no factions, just do whatever. You can have all orcs if you want, or all humans, but it doesn't matter.
There's a benefit sometimes to doing that too.
Yeah, are these fantasy guys? Well, that guy's got a gun, but I don't know. But then this person, who's that one that looks like a Tron ninja?
Yeah.
Like
that one I went a little, that's kind of stupid.
There were 3 different time zones. World War II, fantasy, and future.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Yep.
On purpose?
Yes.
Yeah, because they're in the shadow plane, so there's no tie down to a certain time. Because
that's what I thought.
The shadow planes, yeah.
I didn't think it was like Mike said. I thought it was just there is no more time concept because we just kind of float around. But
yeah, well, they're getting their champions from different times, but on the shadow plane, it's just what's happening on the shadow plane. But yeah, he's right. They had like some minis there, like World War II era, some in the future, some fantasy. So I mean, it's kind of cool because it's the one game that can kind of mix all these different genres, but still fit in the game.
And we all have souls, no matter what. That binds us together. It's beautiful.
See, and I like
no gingers in the game
because no.
Rock's a ginger. That's why it disappoints.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead with your, do you have any cons on the game, Spencer, as a big fan?
Yeah. I still think the biggest con was them having to change the scale, but that was more of a personal preference between, you know, me and my brother, because we were so heavily invested. You know, that's a huge negative to, you know, go from, you know, that high of a money investment and essentially restarting. But at the same time, seeing the new sculpts, seeing the rules that they've added, and, you know, all the work they've put into, like, you know, relaunching this game, and I've kind of put that negative to the side, and, you know, just really kind of, you know, getting back and backing my favorite game again. And, you know, I'm super excited about it. And they've also added another mechanic you guys didn't play in that wasn't in 1.0, and that's the god mechanic, to where, like, when you select your effigy, you actually choose like what god you're representing on the shadow plane, and depending on, you know, which one you have, you'll have like extra bonuses for the game, especially if you end up picking champions that kind of align with that god. So, like, you have thematic lists at the same time, but at the same time you're not tied down, because, you know, they have different levels of like what gifts you can get from the different gods you choose.
Nice. You know, something you said about you're trying to separate yourself from your feelings with the models and the new lines. It's kind of like, you know, all reviews are biased, like we've said before. You know, when we talk about Mantic, it's like, well, I got burned on the Kickstarter. Well, that shouldn't have any bearing on the game. It's like, everything affects everything. If you can put it aside, awesome. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes you think about it. So I think that you're doing a good job, Spencer, but it took you probably a little bit of time to get over.
Almost a year.
And to unfuck yourself from what happened there. So sounds like you're on the right path. And that god mechanic sounds actually kind of cool in the game. It sounds like a cool thing that we didn't.
I'm excited to test it out. Yeah. And I will say that the respawn mechanic is nice when you kill someone with souls, because when they die, they lose the souls they're carrying, which can like totally retip the scales in your favor. Yeah. Because there's been games I've played with Sean that I'm like, he's way ahead of me, and then I kill a guy that has a soul or two on it, and then all of a sudden the scoring has teetered back into, you know, equal, and then I still got a game.
I was very much a get him and bank him player.
Yeah,
I'm not walking around with 3 souls on me. I'm not getting mugged.
See, that's not easy in the 5v5, because you got a much bigger mat, so you have a lot longer way to get back to that effigy to bank them.
That's true. Good point. Xtreme, how much Judgment action did you actually get in?
I think I played 4 or 5 games.
Okay. What pros, cons? What are your thoughts?
The new version, I think, fixed a lot of the cons that I would have pointed out before. This still is the question mark with distribution. I expect it to be better than it was before with Creature Caster. Already having some inroads into that, but we'll see.
Okay, that's it?
Yeah.
Okay. I bet you're going to have a good score for this game. I bet you will.
We'll see.
I've learned that no good news is good news when it comes to Xtreme. He doesn't have a lot to say on it. He actually likes the game. It's usually the reverse. Okay, Mike.
We'll see.
Oh, so what?
We'll see.
Okay. Pros, cons, things you want to get out there about the game?
Pretty much everything. I've always been like you. I love this game. I wish it was on Hexus. It would solve all of my, and they did that. I was very skeptical when they said they went with Creature Caster, because Creature Caster makes beautiful miniatures, but they're over designed. And, you know, like, why have a guy with 3 scrolls when he can have 20? You know, they've got all kinds of spikes and stuff.
The Rob Liefeld design studio.
Yeah.
They have pouches.
Yeah, way too many pouches. And when I saw even like some of the early renders, it was like, oh, there's way too much. You know, Gendris had thousands of little twigs coming up, and all that's going to snap off. But when I actually saw the miniatures, they were incredibly restrained. They're still beautiful, but they're they're not as fiddly, so there's not as many points to break off, and I was very, very pleased with that. So they've also came up with, because that was another thing, because Creature Caster, they're like, we're going to put demons, and our demons have tits, and tits with nipples, and of course somebody is going to go, I can't have that with my son, he might, you know, and so they're creating safe, you know, versions with.
I'd say, Dad, are you supposed to, I mean, tits without nipples?
We all know it's the nipple that's the offensive part.
Yeah, but
because you can have a pasty and it's legal, so you know.
You can paint a pasty on too if it really bothers you, Dad.
No, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, and I'm excited. I like the 3D terrain. It used to bother me playing with some people. They'd talk about, oh, Judgment's great. You got these beautiful miniatures, and I want to use this flat token as all the terrain because it's easier to. It's like it kind of took me out of the game. Yeah, you know. So I like the fact that the terrain's in there. The soul mechanic is great. The different ways to win with souls, with destroying the effigy. I found all of that to be good.
Are souls still flat, or are those 3D? Because those could get in the way, right?
They had tokens. They have tokens now for souls, so it's an actual. Actually, all the states conditions like poisoned and whatnot, they can get optional tokens as well. Is JP frozen?
I think he's just staying very, very still. Oh!
Whoa,
got him!
Shit.
Such a fun game to do. I don't know why it's.
Oh, that was really you just being still?
No. I knew I froze, but then I'm like, well, let's come back with something.
I was hoping to be your dong.
But yeah, I was again, you know, like Spencer, I think I was missing 2 models, a couple of the monsters, but I had every other model, and I'm like, this kind of pisses me off, but I look at all these other games I don't play, and I look at all these other things that I've bought that I'll probably never use. So I'm like, yeah, let's add it to the pile. So
I remember using the Bones Elementals as the bad guys.
Oh yeah, because
I'm like, I don't paint fire and water. I don't know what I'm doing with that.
And Inferno never really impressed me as a model, and I like the fire elemental at $7. Boom, done.
Exactly. The only one I owned was Gloom because he came in the box.
Yeah.
So quick note on the old models. Again, not a big issue anymore, but Mike's right. Like that was some of that stuff. I mean, I remember getting the box set with the first box set. Who's the fire sorceress girl?
Yeah, the Stariel and Thrommel.
Yeah. So the one I got, this was her hands.
Sausage fingers or broken fingers?
All broken fingers. The thumb was there, and the rest were all broken. And I'm like, fuck this. Like I ended up just throwing the model in with whatever, with somebody. I never bothered to even put it together because I'm like, it came broken. And those kind of things, it's like that resin in a box like that.
Yeah, they were just kind of rattling around in there, weren't they?
Yeah, I mean, at least the other ones came in the tubes, but that were a little better. They still could have been. They weren't the best. They weren't really stored the best either. So I'm very excited for the PVC.
You should just blood for the blood god on each finger.
Mine just chop her hands off.
Yeah,
or just put flames.
Yeah, flames coming out anyway. All right. Anything else? Any closing words, or should we go to our ratings?
I will say, have any of you guys bought anything from Creature Caster?
Yeah.
Model-wise?
Yeah.
They package really, really well.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
Sure.
Like it's crazy nice. Like everything is like wrapped, and then it's like in a sealed bag, and then that bag goes into a box with more packaging. Like it is, they are super good with their packaging.
That's good to hear.
So.
Okay. Well, so this is Judgment. Kickstarter's live right now. Let's
it is.
Let's put our ratings out there. Now, is this ratings based on both games? Only the current one? What do you want to do?
Both.
Yeah.
Where it's at and where it's going.
Okay. Fair enough. Most experience would be Spencer. Know that not only do you get to go first, but we're going to put your score in pencil. because it will be erased. It will not count.
It'll count for this, but not the overall.
Yeah. Basically, whatever score you think we all, the cumulative, we're going to respawn into a new score that is 4 people going into it, not 5. Like,
right, that's fair.
The Google sheet, you'll be like the nubs on that chick's hand just sticking out. Just a little nub there. What is your, how many Zlurpees, you can give halves as well, how many Zlurpees do you give Judgment?
Well, it was my favorite game.
Was?
Ever since I started playing, it was my favorite game. And then we had a rough patch, but now I'm back and excited. So I'm going all. I'm full in it. Full blast. Fill up my Zlurpee.
5?
Yep.
Whoa.
Doing it.
Man.
I think any other game you had me on, if you ever had me on for another game, I don't think anything else is touching 5.
This is like you getting someone pregnant on your first try.
And you did it anally.
Yeah, and it just dribbled out. Biran has 55 episodes, and he hasn't even blown a swimmer yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm just shooting
he's a tough judge. I've watched.
5 Zlurpees. This game can be no better.
Currently,
that's what that means.
At,
that's what that means.
I'm feeling that way.
Wow.
I'm just ready to play.
No, I'm not trying to talk him out. I just want to make sure he knows what he's getting himself into. Now,
my thing is the model quality is high, and it's never dropped down. Like the sculpts are still fantastic. They're still amazing. They're still constantly, doing their quarterly patches, and then they don't do crazy knee-jerk reactions when they're doing the patches. They're always small, minor tweaks. Nothing crazy. Just they're just always honing in on trying to like get it as close to perfect as you can. And for two brothers making a game and still being all over it even now, like, and they still play it on stream. Like they play their own game. So
do they have a third brother
for me to,
like you and?
I was just going to ask that. Is there?
I need to ask Andrew and see if they do have one.
So what's the other brother's nickname? Because Andrew is Guns.
Tirith is the nickname.
Oh, I thought it was like Knives.
Of the other one. No.
Nice. And the youngest brother is Bombs. I don't know.
Daggers.
Jules.
Wow. So real quick, Spencer, and obviously we got you locked in at a 5. It's a 5 that doesn't count, but a 5 nonetheless. If we had you on 3 months ago, would it still have been a 5?
No.
Okay.
It wouldn't be as low as you thought it would. I probably would have just dropped it.
No need to elaborate. I just want to check and make sure timeline is still a thing. Next most games, Mike, probably?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it a 4 because I still haven't played it yet in the 2nd edition. So I'm going to give it a 4, and I'm hoping that when we revisit this in episode 100, it'll go up. I am excited.
Good point, Mike. Can someone right now, if they don't backing the game or not, can they get the new rules?
Yeah, they're on the app.
The app. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the beta rules are on the app, and it's called Warband Commander.
Okay.
Are the cards that are on the app 2nd edition?
Yes. Yeah, because they're actually built for the hexes already.
Okay,
so you can play with your stuff right now.
So Bastion's staff still has a 3 hex range?
No, Bastion no longer has a staff. He has a sword now. They changed Bastion up a little bit.
Oh, really? I didn't notice it because I think I was just looking at that on the app. But anyways,
does he still have a book?
He does still have a book. His sculpt is changing quite a bit. They're resculpting him right now. But he's
that was
from what I saw.
One of my favorite to use when I played. I thought he was the ultimate like a wingman.
Oh yeah, he's one of my favorite support for sure.
He's got a magic blast with 3. Gotcha. Because I had to make the thing bigger.
Yeah,
I want the old cards. Is it too late for them to grab them now?
Probably. I mean, I don't know if it's still they're still on the Judgment side or not because they had a print and play section. I haven't checked to see, but
I'll save them tomorrow. Sorry, friend.
You're out of luck.
We've all moved on. All right, so we got Spencer at a 5, Mike at a 4.
I think you're next, JP.
I guess I'll go next. It's going to be a 3.5. If there was not a new version coming out, it would be a 3. And 3's not bad, but if it's so good, why did I have no problem parting with all of the items? 3.5 because it sounds like the changes they've made are only positive. Models and hexes are phenomenal. It's just, I'd love to give it a try again, see if it improves when we get to a revisiting. It may not, but I think that's a pretty solid score for a game that I may not even play anymore.
Are you going to back the Kickstarter?
Yeah. As of right now, it's a no, but I've been known to make bad judgment. And, and like last minute when I get the 48 hour reminder.
When you see everything that's unlocked and you're like,
well, because I put a heart, so I get reminders before 2 days before it's up, and that's when I end up backing a lot of things. So maybe, but I don't know, probably not. But we'll have to see. Biran, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
You son of a bitch! You actually stole my score and my reasoning behind it. And also the 3.5.
Well, in season 2, maybe you and I will be the ones that are aligned because Mike and I we veered off our path.
Yeah.
The game's the same. So
I'm looking forward to trying it. The hexes are a big deal for me. Join our mythological convention called HexCon, where every game must be on a hex. Boards can only be at max 3x3 in size.
I like that you also essentially play it in a hex, like a WandaVision style hex, where your bubble is separate from everybody else at Grognard Games.
Yes.
Like every time you let Mike think for himself for like 2 seconds.
And I will, when Mike gets it, I'm sure we'll gather around you children, and Mike will show us how to play, and then Tony will show us how to play correctly.
Yes.
What do you think Tony and Ryan would give the game? Just curious.
I bet you Ryan gives it a 4 and Tony gives it a 4.5.
Okay.
I don't know. I think Tony's harder to please.
He's a fussy little bitch.
I think he's going to. Yeah, I don't want to say that, but he'll.
I bet you with Tony, we would have to have quarter points
with his high scores.
Yeah.
Actually,
stingier than me.
Tony would ask exactly what each score means first.
Yeah. He would need the document.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Let's move on to the caboose. Xtreme.
That's me. I think all of the complaints I had about the game, they seem to have fixed in 2.0 with the Kickstarter and everything. So that's pretty cool. But since then also, there's like a competitor that's been introduced and with Riot Quest. So if I look at like MOBA games that I want to play, I'd rather play Riot Quest. So it shouldn't be like comparing the two games, but it steals that time space for me. And also,
would you say that Riot Quest is more casual friendly?
Yes, that's why I would like it more.
I agree with that.
It really is, though. Like when we talked about earlier, it does really sound like those two games are in its own category, especially now with the style of the hexes, right? I mean, you're a small team; they all have abilities.
MOBA.
I just feel like Riot Quest.
Sorry.
What is this?
Raising his hands.
Are we doing YMCA? No, I know, but
YMCA.
He was doing get these hands.
He was hiding his weird growth from Mike because he was ashamed.
Yeah, you know what's great about having Mike on camera? He can help you spot shit that's wrong with you.
Yeah, I've never even noticed those before.
You never knew that he's got fucking.
Seriously?
Now you're gonna wear fingerless gloves everywhere you go.
Like, he never knew that he had a second thumb growing in each hand.
Is it a Michigan thing? Is that why Madonna wears fingerless gloves to hide her bump?
Oh, is that a new area in Michigan that's like new development maybe?
Maybe that's where I'm supposed to actually be living.
Yeah.
Or is this like I mean, yeah. I mean, are you getting the Great Lakes as part of your hand now?
Would that be Holland, Michigan, or is that the other side?
I think Holland's here, right?
Yeah, Holland's more near the lake.
Yeah, Holland's near Lake Michigan.
Yeah. So that bump is.
I was supposed to go to Holland.
I always wondered. I never knew where Monroe, Michigan was. I just saw it on your profiles. Now I know it's like a hill over there. It's a hill.
Isn't the name of the county where Detroit is Monroe County?
That's Wayne County.
Oh.
We're like 20 minutes south of Detroit.
Is it true it was named for Monroe from Too Close for Comfort?
Yes.
Monroe.
It's one of the many ones when President Monroe was making he was visiting different towns, and if you actually named your town Monroe, he would stop in your town during his tour.
I like that you still call him President Monroe. Like we
titled with that, I think, forever.
There's still people that won't say President Biden, but will still say President Trump. Like, I like that you're still hanging on to Monroe. I'm a Pope guy myself.
I'm a calf guy because he's fat.
Yeah, is it true he died in a bathtub?
I think so.
Okay, I had a book called
Could have happened to any of us.
Facts and Fun About the Presidents, and I'm pretty sure there was a little quip that he either died in a bathtub or just slipped in the bathtub. Mm-hmm. And then when I was 10 years old, I don't remember the difference of dying or just falling. So anyway, we have Xtreme, right?
Has not given us the score yet.
He's withholding.
So also based on the criteria of if you guys were playing this and asked me if I want to play what I want to play, that factored into my score. I'm going to give it a 3.
Ooh,
shit. That's a Stomberg 3.5.
Wow. That's a 3.5?
3.8.
3.8. Oh, okay. Wait, is that with Spencer?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. What's the real?
Without Spencer, it's 3.5.
Yeah. Okay.
The 4, 2, 3 5s, and a 3.
Right. Okay.
Didn't want to say it while he's here.
We've already.
I don't matter.
Established.
Listen, we've already set the precedent, Monroe, of all of this. When a guest is on, we humor them, but ultimately they don't count.
Well, I was just going to flash the 3.5 on the screen now.
Oh, okay. Is it there now?
Yes. Yes.
My like right now, like I'm looking at it.
We say, Spencer, you made that 0.8 happen. Congratulations, but it won't be there. It'll be a 3.5.
Before we wrap it up, Spencer, are there any other games that you think you'd be a good fit for future episodes on?
Don't Look Back, the survival horror game from Blackside Studios.
Is that, Biran, worthy of a full episode?
We could. I don't know if is it a game you get into, Spencer, or is it just a game you play for funsies?
It's more of a game that you get in for funsies, because basically you buy the core set and you have enough for you and all of your friends to play. It's not like a collectible type game. Well, there's other expansions for the game.
We can invite more people for quick hits.
Yeah, this is a
quick hits game.
This is going to be a no for a real episode, but a yes for a quick hits.
We'll invite you back for quick hits.
Yeah. Any other real games you want to talk about? Like, not just, it all comes in one box. Nobody gives a fuck about coming in one box. That's what she said.
Well, I'd say the core game comes in one box, but then you got all these other expansions and then all these other amazing terrain elements that you can buy to go with it. Because
no, talk about the package. I don't know. We should definitely talk about this game, or you should look up this game, because the packaging, everything is cool.
What's it called again?
Does it come inside?
Don't Look Back.
Don't Look Back.
Does it come in a coffin?
No, but it does. Every single one of their expansions comes in a VHS case, and then you turn it over and it actually has like all the verbiage like it's a horror movie. And then you can actually store your minis in the horror movie cases.
All right. I will look at it.
And then all the terrain that you can play.
Well, Mantic, they're not using VHS as a gimmick. They're doing it out of...
Because they got it on the cheap from
an
old Blockbuster that went out of business.
Out of a recycling truck. Would you, Spencer, say, hey, if you guys are going to cover a game like Zombicide, then you should at least cover this too?
Yeah, this game's awesome. And all the terrain you can use for all kinds of other stuff. And it all has playable interiors and pre-painted, and it's awesome.
So
awesome
So it's called Don't Look Back?
Yep.
I need to go to a 3/4 direct.
I thought it was a play on the Oasis song "Don't Look Back" (parentheses) in anger. I guess not. Okay. Rob,
are you a fan of 80s horror and 90s slashers? Like,
yes.
If you are, this game is for you.
I like a good chunk of it, and I also think a good chunk of it's dumb.
This is a fun comic series I've been reading.
Yeah, you'll love this game, man.
Nice.
You can roll up, like randomly roll up a killer, or you can even like pick the different things that make that killer to, you know, make up your favorite, you know, horror movie character, or make up your own character.
Is Pinhead in it?
You got all kinds of cool stuff.
All I care about is Pinhead's in it.
They don't have pre-made killers. You can make your own or randomly roll up.
They don't own the IP, is what he's saying.
Yeah,
right.
That's fine. I'll have pointy cranium, man.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Zlurpcast, if you made it this far without coming, congrats. You can go ahead and finish now. I'll wait.
Or it's gone back down, and now you're gonna have a stomach ache.
A stomach ache.
I get a stomach ache from blue balls. Does anyone else? Comment below.
I mean, Mike, as a scientist, stomach? Is he just saying stomach?
I don't know.
I mean,
when you take edging too far, it's not stomach. It's more like
right. That's what I'm saying. You're like a little kid says, "My tum hurts." It's
right.
Not really that. You're saying stomach.
Well, you know how if you get kicked in the balls, you're like, "Oh, I gotta take a dump."
Why, to shit a ball out? What is that? I've never taken a dump after getting kicked in the balls. I just cry in the fetal position.
Mine are connected. My balls to my stomach.
Is that what you said? You get out of class like, I'm gonna take a shit, even though you got kicked in the balls. You weren't.
I wrecked my balls.
Yeah. Well, for more ball talk, you know, the D&Bs, if you will, follow Zlurpcast on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Like on there, so you see all the updates. You get a little clip of the show every week, and hopefully it entices you to click on the link for the full episode, which you should subscribe as well. We've got a J Dice there. I like it. Big thanks to our guest, Spencer.
Spencer.
Do you own any Zlurpcast items, apparel, merch?
Yeah, I got like your trophies and stickers and patches, and I have like the original Zlurp Nation patch. I don't have any like fat guy shirts yet.
That's fine. No, what do you mean a trophy? What is that? You guys,
the Zlurp Zlurpy trophy from the Zlurp people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad you brought that up. One moment, please.
That has E's on it. That doesn't count.
Where the fuck is it?
Zlurpy versus Zlurp.
Where the fuck is it? Where the fuck is it? Oh man, what a moment ruined.
It's under your stack of Euroboy magazines.
It's not under the stack of Euroboy magazines. Oh well. I'll come back. That's too bad.
I'll CGI one in.
That was a moment. I turned my Zlurpy trophy into an effigy for Judgement.
Oh, nice.
So here's the other one I was using, which is from that graveyard set, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And which I always thought was a cool, a little different. Do people make their own still, or is this like you use theirs now?
It's 3 hexes, the new one. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. A little easier to get to.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm. Yeah, I don't know if I want to make a new effigy, or if I want to try to convert one of my existing ones into a 3 hex one. I'm not sure.
The scale will look great with if you use your current one, because they're supposed to be huge, right?
Yeah.
It's not the size of the effigy. It's how much you pray.
Yeah.
The width. They
have like 3D effigies now too that have like the different gods, and they're all sculpted out and look awesome. So
WYSIWYG.
They have that.
If you can't get god powers unless you have the model. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do the gods look like?
I haven't looked that far into it. The gods are new, so I've just read a little bit of the background.
What is her name?
Zur name.
Dur?
Zur, Z-E-R.
Oh, I thought you said Dur.
Genderless pronoun.
Is that what that means? Sir?
XER.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're saying sir.
It does. That's because of the patriarchy, though.
That's because you're a fucking cis white male and shouldn't be talking right now?
Yes, I should sit down.
All right, well, great talk. Spencer, thanks for coming on. You are one of the good ones, and by that I don't mean just people named Spencer. We already know that. But you put your life on the line for miniature games for $0 in a paid. It's like, what more could they ask from you? I mean, outside of your own souls on the board of this game waiting to be captured, you've given it all to this sport we call miniature gaming. It is a sport, after all. So hopefully we'll get you on for another topic. I don't know what just yet. Maybe brothers in gaming.
Coming out to your family.
Maybe we'll do like a gaming brothers newlywed game style episode.
I don't think I could get Sean on here.
No? Does he not like us?
Why?
I don't think Sean's one for video podcasts or podcasts at all.
What if it's just your heads?
I don't think I get him on it either.
How much
more?
How much?
I think he makes Brian seem like you when it comes to doing these things.
I don't even know what that means, but thank you.
You mean Biran or Xtreme Brian?
Xtreme.
Okay.
Biran is Biran. Xtreme is Xtreme. Valdric
it's funny because I call him, when I'm talking about between the two of them, I'll say Brian for Xtreme, but I'll say Biran for Biran.
Thanks to Taco Bill for that one.
A lot of people just say they say Brian Xtreme, which I thought was kind of funny, almost like it's, you know, like an 80s pop star or something. Brian Xtreme. Not Extreme Brian.
I've just talked to him so much, it's weird to call him Xtreme.
Yeah. Oh, I think also, I mean, I know you got a lot of contacts in your phone, and he's just one of them. Is he under B or X?
B.
Okay.
Actually, no, he's under M because I do everyone's first and last name. So
BM.
But
BM.
bowel movement.
Yeah.
I would never say bowel movement. Extreme. I want that for the record. I could think it, but I would never say it. Biran said it.
I'm not a good enough friend to have Xtreme in my phone book.
I think I only got it because we were like going down to St. Louis and I needed his phone number to get to his house.
I have Extreme's number because when I like deleted all Facebook, I'm like, well, I need to talk to somebody, you know, because all the Facebook's gone.
Mike is under G for gaming Mike because I have too many mics.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
Mike is under Valdric in my phone.
Valdric?
Yep.
I think that'd be a fun game. Like maybe like a side game we create, like a, what was it? Like dial M for murder, like a M for Muller side game. We have to determine like who he would kill or something. I'm going to work on that.
I do have JP and his JP.
Thank you. Who else do you got? What else you got? Let me see.
I got Derek Jeff. That's a Jeff who's partners with Derek, and that's how I distinguish them. I have my friend Larry as !possum.
Who's the most famous person you have in your phone? Do you have like the girl, like Robert Downey Jr.'s wife in your phone or something?
No. I think you would probably classify.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah.
I thought you might have had, because you have like some Schaumburg alum that somehow made it out of the fucking trenches and became like
that would be Robert Downey Jr.'s wife is the only one I know of.
Is Mrs. Jr. or?
I believe she does go. She did take his last name, so it is.
Is Mrs. Downey or is he
Downey?
Or
his last name's not Junior.
Is it Ms. Potts?
No, it is. What is her first? I can't even remember her first name now. That's how close we were.
At one point, did you want to make her Ms. Thompson?
Oh yeah, she's hot for sure. Yeah.
And you were like, "Listen, I'm an aging football star. You got to get me now because
I played the position that no people even think about."
What, nose tackle?
Guard.
Oh God.
Nose tacker is at least there's only one. Guard,
I'm not smart enough to be a tackle or a center.
Right.
Put me a guard.
I played tackle and center as well.
Sure you did.
Yeah.
Tackle
was suspended for the first 2 games for drinking beer and got caught.
I like that. Were you guard / center? Because you weren't center / guard.
I was a backup center, but I never had to play center.
I can see you as a long snapper, though.
Yes, I was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
I didn't do it in the game, but I had practiced.
By the way, is this like an extra thing? Did we wrap up earlier and this is like extra, or is that too much work, Biran?
That's too much work. So bye, everybody.
We'll just say bye then.
Zlurpcast! Brought to you by Nuffles. Bet you can't just roll a 1.